First of all, I'm full of Sometimes my mama said, you know, when you don't have nothing nice to say, you should be quiet.
People say that Stephen A. is a coon. You agree with that? Everybody got quiet on that one? Okay, go ahead.
Rudy Giuliani practices voodoo. So he put a voodoo hex on my girl, Hillary, and that's why she got woozy. And the Secret Service had to prop her up and put her in the van.
Take us to a break, my dude.
It was voodoo, son.
I don't know about that voodoo.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Three Black Guys with a Mic. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. We are here looking like three old guys.
Wait a minute.
We look like three old. We look like we in our 40s right now.
Maynard,
No,
where
I'm
are
sorry,
we?
in the 50s. I'm sorry.
there we
Wait
got
a minute. Why you gotta?
I mean, we do look like well, I don't look like I'm in my 50s, but Lamont looks like he's in his 50s.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm trying to just get live. Can you give me 1 second?
I'm trying to get live too. But we do look a little old.
No, we're gonna talk about the old and why.
Because I was gonna ask you, like,
I look like wisdom.
right now you look exactly like Wisdom. You look truly like Wisdom with the drink.
With the who?
With the drink. That's Wisdom for you.
I thought we weren't drinking.
There's nothing in my hands.
I mean, you know, that's what I thought. But I thought you was only drinking on Sundays.
Right.
Easter was yesterday, so Lent is over.
Oh, you were only doing that for Easter.
Oh, that's how it works?
For Lent.
All right, well, okay, we good now. Okay, so what do you mean about me being 50? What do you mean? I'm trying to figure out how Mr. Isley is almost...
Wait. Why'd you call him Minister?
Mr.
Oh, Mr. Isaac.
He's almost 80, and I saw his, I want to be respectful, but I saw his wife. His wife was popping, dude. Like, if that's what we doing, we're going to be okay. 30 some odd years younger than Mr.
Well, wait. When you say we, I mean, are you 30 years senior of your wife or what?
God, no. No, we neck and neck around here. Let me wait. Let me stop. Let me shut up because, women, they don't like talking about them numbers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I understand that too, but I'm just asking, you said we're going to be all right, but.
I'm just saying we in terms of you say we're getting old. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. We just trying to get everything, all this housekeeping stuff in the beginning. We want to make sure we got, all of the stuff out that we're here. Okay.
This is why we actually, are supposed to show up, Lamont, at like 6:30 or 6:45 instead of 6:55.
Listen, you saw the phone ring earlier. Is COVID coins out here? We trying to get them. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I ain't mad at you on that.
We got to get these COVID coins.
I'd like to have some COVID coins, please.
I got you. Don't worry.
Listen, I will book hotels. I will call programmers. What I got to do. Just let me know.
Well, I'm going to say this, and this is what I'm scared of. I don't say I'm scared, but, there's a lot of talk of NFTs and blockchain and these different, the Bitcoin, Elysium. I never can pronounce
Elysium,
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Elysium, but I just read on the cover of the Journal this morning about how China is getting ready to go real heavy with their digital currency. Heavy.
So, Lamont,
what?
You said this last week. You used the term last week, and you did it again today. NFT. Mm-hmm. And I'd only learned here recently what it means. Non-fungible token. What's it mean to the music industry, though? Is it still developing and you don't really? Because it's rare. It's relatively a new thing. I don't want to put you on the spot. That's what I'm saying.
Well, part of it is I don't really know, and I don't think anybody knows. I think this is another example of we're trying to figure it out. I don't think. Again, it kind of doesn't make sense, but a lot of things doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense at one time that people would pay $9.99 for a subscription to a Spotify.
I thought it was on the like, from what I heard, I'm saying in regards to like the way Jim Jones explained it. Mm-hmm. It was like if I take a picture, it's about intellectual property, right?
Right.
It's like if I take a picture of me and all these blog sites or whoever, you know what I'm saying, take it, I can sell my intellectual property to whoever, basically, instead of, you know what I'm saying, having it out there. So that's the way I understood it, that it's basically, you know, even like when I saw K-Camp on TMZ, he was basically saying, hey, I'm going to take a 30-second intro of a song and I'll give it away, you know what I'm saying, for NFT, and then everybody else can, you know what I'm saying, take that song and, you know what I'm saying, add to it or do whatever, and we can make a song, blah, blah, blah. So he's basically taking his intellectual property and selling it to other people, is what I understood it.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, and they're still trying to figure it out. And like you just said, with Jimmy and what he said, just take the photograph, because, man, I think you said the question was about music, but let's stay on the photograph.
Hold on for 1 second, Lamont.
What?
Spud,
What?
So Spud talked about Jim Jones. That's how we refer to him. And Lamont was like, with Jimmy. It's so personal. You know, with Jimmy. Man. Go ahead, my dude. Go ahead.
Anyway, and it's funny because there's a certain Fortune 500 company attorney that I spoke to just today about, I didn't know that when you actually add a photograph to Instagram, in the terms of service, that photograph actually belongs to Instagram now. They can do whatever it is that they want to do with it. Did you guys know that? I
did not know that either. I thought it was your page.
I think I remember that was part of how Facebook owns Instagram, but I think what they're saying is those bytes that you put up there, they're not going to parse time to give them back to you. But that doesn't mean that you can't use your photograph other places.
But technically, in their terms of service, just like IE, and I'll say it again, speaking to an attorney today of a Fortune 500 company, with Clubhouse, in their terms of service, because this company had to go through and read the entire terms of service, that's their audio. Once you get on that Clubhouse, whatever it is you say, that's theirs. It belongs to them. They can do whatever it is that they want with the audio.
Okay.
So I think to kind of round it out, this NFT thing that you're talking about, or Amanda that you asked about, it's kind of all the same thing. And they're still trying to figure it out. I don't think nobody has the real answer just yet, because even as I argue with a good friend of all of ours, you know, with the cryptocurrency, is that, you know, I can't go and get lamb chops with a Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin has no value to me.
You can go get it with a stimmy check, though.
Yeah, I hear you, my guy.
But, no, there's some places that are out here ready to. There's some places in New York City that take Bitcoin for dinner.
Yeah, but you're not, again, in terms of your everyday living. And again, for me, you just said I'm 50. So I'm concerned about a lamb chop. I'm concerned about paying for everyday goods and services. You know, there are other investments that are in the portfolio on this side of the tree that, okay, if we want to play with those kind of things, we can, but it's not something that's so overly excited, like, oh, I'm going to give them 100 and I'm going to make 22,000 and have it all in Bitcoin. And then when I try to cash it in, I'm at a 42% tax rate. I'm good on that. I'm straight.
Okay. What's up to everybody who is on with us? Thank you so very much for joining us for another episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. Shout out to Earl Wynn, Timothy Williams, and everybody else. Please let us know where you are. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Instagram, not on Instagram, if you're watching this on Facebook, or wherever it is that you are watching us on, please let us know who you are, where you are from. We love to give you a shout out. If you'd love to be a part of the show, hit the link in the actual chat and we will put you live on this show. Speaking of Lamont being 50, is there an age where you start wearing the big hats and the flashy suits and the red suits? You know, as I didn't watch Versus. I thought you know, it was epic to be able to see Earth, Wind and Fire and to be able to see what's his name, the Isley brothers. We got to give props to, you know what I'm saying, Swiss and Timbaland. Lamont hated on them last year when they first started the Versus. I was a little bit hating on them as well, but they actually took an idea and made it into an actual business and actually gave people the opportunity to be able to make some money while not being able to tour. So shouts out to, you know what I'm saying, Swiss Beats and Timbaland for making it happen. But I'm looking around and I'm like, first of all, Steve Harvey, I like you, Steve Harvey. Sit down somewhere, all right? Sit down. It wasn't about you. It was about the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't need you walking around talking about how much the good music is and all that other stuff. Set your. Did he go to work, Lamont? Did he go to work this morning?
He was dragging, but he was there. I mean, he was in his hotel room with the setup. Y'all know what the setup is anyway. More than I do. Yeah.
So sit down somewhere, Steve Harvey. Anyways, I just wanted to say, Lamont, are you gonna get into like the straight color suits with the big hat?
well, first, let me say this.
Is it a dress code? At what age is it 50 you start dressing like that?
No, because first of all, that's a Cleveland thing. Let's be clear. He old school Cleveland, Ohio.
Wait a minute, Lamont.
No, and it's my people. To be clear, he'll tell you. That's how he gets down.
Suits and big block Gators is a Detroit thing as well.
No. Gators is a Midwest thing. And Detroit didn't have the monopoly, but I hear you. But I'm just telling you. And he said it. Steve is 65. He's almost 70. So that's a Cleveland thing, and there's nothing wrong with him embracing that because, like he said, he can afford to do that. But here's where Spud is wrong. I feel like what Spud is saying and what Steve Harvey brought to is putting like gravy on the mashed potatoes. If y'all just would have left that up to D Nice and to Ronald Isley and Vernie, what's the brother's name? Vern, the guy with the hair. Not
Verdine
whatever
White.
His name is, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Verdine White.
Yeah, Verdine. It would have been dry. And I didn't want to watch it at first, but I kept getting the pressure, and I turned it on. And actually, Steve, with his clownery-ishness, and again, that's his era, dog. That's like me sitting here talking about the Street Lords and the Cheddar Boys. Like, you can't have some of these young 18-year-olds talk about Wipeout.
Yeah, but I think that, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
they're not going to know that.
Yeah, but I understand where you're saying that it's dry, but I don't think that, you know what I'm saying, we needed Steve Harvey and D Nice to be able to be the moderators of this particular situation. I'm glad that D Nice was there. They kept it going,
and D Nice did a masterful job.
I mean, D Nice rocked it.
It was professional.
But it would be the
production
equivalent of having Funkmaster. Do you want Funkmaster Flex to do a Public Enemy and who else? This is your era, Maynard. Public Enemy and who else? X-Clan.
But I don't want Funkmaster Flex to do anything.
But I mean,
I don't want Funkmaster Flex to do anything.
Yeah, Flex
is dope.
Now Flex is whack. He got super whack juice all over him.
What you talking about?
He's getting worse by the week.
My son on y'all, man.
After the liposuction on YouTube, I'm good on you, dog.
What's wrong with liposuction? Liposuction.
Next, I think they did a good. Listen, and again, I'm not.
My problem with Flex is it
was produced very well. I enjoyed it.
It was produced very well.
It was Flex comes on all extra emotional. He's like an angry Drake.
He's
like,
the angry man.
He always crying about something.
Yeah, he needs. Well, I don't know. Let me not get into the politics. He need to go sit down somewhere.
All right, we'll turn that down. Let's move on to DMX. So prayers are up for DMX because he almost went to the next life on us.
But we're not out of the woods yet, are we? He's still. Huh? He's not out of the woods yet, is he?
Well, he's breathing on his own. So that's a lot better than you in a vegetable state. It's a vegetable state.
Vegetative.
And you almost out of here. So, prayers up for my man.
I thought he was still in that space, man. I'm glad. If what you're telling me is accurate, I'm glad to hear that he's doing better. But
no, I mean, from my understanding, from the reports that I read, that he was breathing on his own, that, he's doing better. He ain't doing a lot better, but he's not like any minute now, he, clocking out. But I just have to say this. Drugs, man. I remember Smokey Robinson said this, and I'll say this, and I'll let you, have a minute. Smokey Robinson, I think he was on Masterclass, and he was saying when he was addicted to drugs, he's like, drugs don't care about how much money you got, how much celebrity you have, how much money you don't have, how many resources you got. Drugs don't care nothing about none of that. If you're addicted to them drugs, you're addicted to them drugs. I mean, for real, for real. And it's sad, for DMX to be in this situation again. And then I started to see the narrative, and what I'm saying, Maynard Lamont, you probably could explain a lot more about where he was 13 and somebody introduced him to crack by accident, and that was the thing that spiraled him into having a drug issue. It's hard to kick that bucket, man. It's hard to kick that bucket. What's up, Bass? Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man, or Lamont.
Mr. Hayes, you want to get something first?
I mean, I don't know. Just to add on to what you said, I do know a couple of hours ago they did do a big vigil at the hospital where he is, because he's up in White Plains, where, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of sort of close to like where he's from, like up there in Yonkers in that area.
He's from
and like you said,
he's from Mount Vernon.
I thought X is from Yonkers.
He's from Yonkers.
Yeah, I don't think he was a Mount Vernon guy. Here's all I can say, man, is that there's this lady that I follow on TikTok, and, her whole thing is about, she's been off of drugs for 14 years. And she said it all the time, is like, when you were in that space, and, it's something you got to deal with every day for the rest of your days. And you got to understand that, you know what I'm saying? And, she even says it's a struggle, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know, man. Hopefully my man can pull out of it and be all right. Because what I didn't know, and I feel a little ashamed because my wife had to check me, is I didn't know X had 15 kids. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know it was 15. I know the number was up there.
Yeah, my wife said it's 15, so she could be off. But so you got to understand just that in itself, and no disrespect to the people who who like the records and all that, but he got babies, and some of them babies got babies. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you, Tiffany. So he was born in Mount Vernon. I'm sorry. I just know Yonkers claim him heavy.
Right.
So I didn't know that about the Mount Vernon part. So that's just my thing, man. Think about his kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how young, old, whatever. But, and again, he could be a grandpappy. You know what I'm saying? So the little ones, man, is always affected. So hopefully my man will be all right.
The thing that is interesting, that's very unfortunate, is this November I'll turn 50. You turned 50 this past September. Is that right, Lamont?
Yes, sir.
And X turned 50 in December. He's 50. And I think not only the idea that somebody introduced him at a very young age to maybe crack cocaine or whatever other substances that have him, in this bad way today. Something obviously happened in this man's life, probably as a young kid, as well. And, not everybody is a bad person, right? There's some people who do bad things, and there's some people who are bad people. And X has done some things that have been troublesome in his life, and we all know the stories. But his soul and his heart is really he always seems to be the person that is genuinely sorry for what he's done and trying to do better. And I just hope he can beat this. I hope he gets past this, and I hope he learns and can and go through his struggle and fight, like you said, the lady said, every day is a challenge. I hope he can fight every day and heal himself. But it's dark and hell is hot. Legendary. This is a man that's made music, like the first album is just a classic, and he's done that consistently. He's been a huge part of the culture, and to have him to see that there's a possibility that we could lose him this early, this young, where he still has so much to give. He just did the joint with they just released a song this past summer, right? It was a music video that they released. It was like 4 or 5 people. I can't remember who was all in it. It's a good song, but he got more to give to the culture. The movies, all the stuff he was doing with that. He's been a big piece of the culture. We need X. I'm sorry for his I'm sorry that the man is going through this. I love DMX. I think he's dope.
That's no question about it. Yeah, his sermons are on point too, Sean. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for, bringing that up. Let's move on to the Derek Chauvin case. I know you guys have been watching, and watching last week really was, I don't know. It really was. I don't want to say it wasn't devastating. It was emotional, and it was one of those things that I'm sure. I don't know. You guys could agree or not, but watching it did not make me understand. And Lamont, you say this all the time about what's up, Ron Bailey, JC for life, baby. Lamont, you say this all the time about the amount of trauma that we are living in this world. And I did not realize how much trauma African Americans have and have endured in this country. And just to see the young lady, I don't know, was it it was the 911 caller, right? No. It was the girl who videoed it. The girl who videoed it, where she was just saying that she was sick to her stomach, that she could not do anything about it.
So Spud, can you catch me up? Wait, can you catch me up? Wait. Wasn't she a little girl? A young lady? I don't know.
She was with the little girl. She was with her little sister.
And she was 17 at the time?
She was 17.
That's a baby.
The girl who videotaped it, I think, was, was the other girl. But I think the girl who was on the stand at first was 17 at the time, and she brought her little sister there. Okay, and she was the one who said...
That's a baby.
Right. So she's 17, and so she basically said, it could have been her dad. It could have been her brother. And that made me realize the amount of trauma, one, that had on her life. But not only that, and I'm sure we've talked about this before. I think we talked about this before about, Chicago and the killings. And I think that, Malcolm, whatever his name is, said, was about the amount of, did I freeze?
No, you.
Oh, there. Okay, good. About how Chicago was just as worse as living in Iraq, and the amount of trauma that we have when it comes to seeing these particular type of things. And then it made me realize, like, God, we've seen this not just with George Floyd, but we've seen this with Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, over and over and over and over again. So go ahead, Maynard. I'm sorry. I'm rambling, but it just made me realize that we endure and have endured a whole lot of trauma for the things that we have had to go through and seen in this country when it comes to not just police brutality, but racism, lynchings, on and on and on and on.
That's an important point. You definitely hit on an important point. A couple of things always got me, right? I could watch movies and kind of be a little bit disconnected from the film. But I watched, for instance, Boys in the Hood. When Ricky was murdered, he was shot in the alleyway. I was upset, but I was okay. But when everyone else had to witness it, when they brought Ricky's body home and his mother and his wife, his girlfriend and his family reacted, that's what hit me. Same goes for when they killed Radio Raheem and Do the Right Thing in front, and because the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, and Radio Raheem, it's so amazing how close, how much one follows the other. It's a chokehold. It's a little bit different, but same idea. A bigger man than the police officer outside of a store. And it was not until everybody started losing their mind over what happened when it hit me, like they witnessed that. Now we know these are movies. But when I thought about what this case is, and similar to what you just said a second ago, Spud, the cashier, the black boy, was like,
I wish I would never even said it.
I wish I never said like it's that boy is 19. He was 18 at the time. As Lamont said, still a baby. He gotta live with that for the rest of his life. That has changed that man in ways. He will forever be known as the cashier who made the phone call that ended in George Floyd being murdered by the police. He will never forget that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal with that. That's heavy.
So I'm gonna take it a step further, Maynard and Spud, because I want to make sure I had the definition right. Because I didn't want to watch it like last week, but I think after the second day or whatever, he was talking about, like, let me turn this on. And the day I watched it was when the old school cat with the white glasses, the guy that was trying to tell Floyd, just chill, be cool. I don't know any of the brother's name, but I remember he was on. And I remember they showed the video during the time I watched it about 6 or 7 times. And I said to myself, this is a snuff film of what they continuously keep showing over and over and over and over again. And we know what a snuff film is, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That video, and again, before it's over, they're probably going to play it over and over and over again. And, I don't like to talk about like artists and stuff, but this was years ago, and I'm never going to forget this. It was me and when it was Kadar time, and it was Erykah Badu in the beginning stage, in the Tyrone days. I remember I thought she was a little crazy with the incense and all that other kind of stuff, and she always talked about frequencies, sounds, visuals, and the frequencies carry certain energies. And whether we realize it or not, for the people that continue to consume that tape and that video and just this whole trauma, I'm telling you, it's doing something to us. It's speaking to us in a manner that maybe we're not fully understanding right now, but we got to be careful how we consume it, my God, because like you said, those kids, and again, because I didn't know that the person who taped it was a younger person, but then I said to myself, oh, that makes sense, because the younger generation, that's what they do. They tape everything, which is good that they taped it. You feel what I'm saying? But she took that in, man, face first. You know what I'm saying? Like, the little boy with that's at the store, he got a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? He got a whole lot.
The rest of his life.
Rest of his life. So,
but even what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? What you're saying, I mean, I take even, a step further if I can. Even like when you think about, like, I saw 13th, the documentary by Ava DuVernay, you know what I'm saying, not too long ago. I watched it again. And one of, you know what I'm saying, the speakers were talking about when you watch the news, what you see is young black men paraded across the news at the beginning of the news talking about either murder or death. And so you put that into a person's mind over and over and over and over again, year after year after year after year, you start to actually tattoo that into your brain about what black men, you know what I'm saying, actually look like, which actually leads to the reason why I'm sure, David Chauvin feels like he can, you know what I'm saying, put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds or 9 minutes, you know what I'm saying, that they showed the whole entire thing. But to be able to see that and you don't realize, and hopefully, which is going to lead me into the next thing I want to talk about, but hopefully, I think these are the things that we are asking for white America to actually get or to actually start to see. Like, do you see that this is trauma on a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid? On an 18-year-old kid, like Maynard said, this boy is going to have to actually live with this for the rest of his life. But not only that, then it goes into another situation where this young girl now is thinking about, oh my God, this could have been my dad. This could have been my uncle. This could have been my brother. Now she got to think about every time her dad goes out the house, it could be her dad that may not come back. We as parents got to be able to actually look at it from our kids' perspective and say, yo, are we having a conversation with our kids about when they have an encounter with the police? Do they know what to do? Are they going to come back? Do they know how to put their hands on the steering wheel? So forth and so on. These particular things, we don't take in that these things are trauma. And how does this 18-year-old girl and her younger sister deal with this? We're taught in the black community, you don't go to no therapy. You don't see no counselor. Those things make you weak.
But you know what else though, Spud? You know what else though? For instance, for the cashier's perspective, and probably almost everybody who's out there perspective, now you think twice about something that occurred between you and another person and whether or not you want to call the police. Now you think twice about somebody doing something to you, and it's this big. It was assault. Maybe somebody hit you and they're walking away, and it seems to be, do you call the cops now? Maybe somebody took something from you. Do you call the cops? Because you think at some point now they puts on us the way it is that the young boy, the cashier, has had to put upon him. It's $20. If I call the cops, are they going to murder this man?
Mm-hmm.
This is horrible.
It goes back to what we were talking about last week about Latasha Harlan, and the girl went to go get some orange juice.
Was trying to pay the woman.
There's a thing to kind of lighten it up. There's a thing that what's his name? D. Ray Davis has a comedy skit that he says the problem is that there's not enough cops in the hood. There's not enough cops to be able to say, you know what? You know you was wrong for being out here for being able to fake $20, dollar bill. Go on
get
somewhere.
Your ass on and go home. Right.
Go home somewhere.
Right. Go home, man.
You don't have that relationship anymore.
Right.
Or at all. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had that relationship with the police.
We
but
did.
You don't have that relationship anymore, not just with the police, but you don't have that relationship with parents, adults, elders anymore, where you can actually say, you know you was wrong for out here being bullied. And I don't know if you had a $20 fake bill. If you did have a fake $20 bill, I mean, somebody tell me who's dying over $20. I mean, I'm sure this store is producing hundreds of thousands of dollars every year off of black people in that neighborhood. Y'all dying over $20? This wasn't a reoccurring thing where the man came in every single week with a fake $20 bill and you was finally like, yo, you didn't came in here 100 times with a fake $20 bill. I'm calling the police this time.
So can I ask you this? Because, it's so many different reports. Was it actually really a fake bill? Because I read something that said it possibly was not fake. Well, did we ever get clarification?
The young man said that he recognized it was a fake off top. It didn't feel right, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll go as far as saying George Floyd was high, and he passed a fake $20 bill. But Spud, you make a good point about how we police. I think the lazy way of policing as a cop is to say to yourself as a police officer, how quickly can I get through this? How fast can I get through this? And if this person causes me to do such and such and so forth, it takes longer than it's supposed to, then I gotta turn it all the way up. So I remember when I worked at a bank and I used to call people and be like, you got to pay your bill. And they wanted me to make 30 phone calls an hour. That meant I could only be on the phone with somebody for 2 minutes. And the first second I heard somebody say they weren't going to pay, I was hanging up. Just hang up. Yeah. Unfortunately, sir, I don't have a click. Next call. Because I wanted to get to the next call and meet this goal. The police, they're just trying to answer calls. And they need to be thinking to themselves. So what happens is it gets to the point where I could just shoot this person, or I could just kill this person. I could be done this call and move on to the next one, or do whatever, or get like, where is the de-escalation tactic? Where is the let's take time? Look, we could be here for 4 hours a day. I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm just a cop.
Yeah, but wait. And I think what you're saying is 85 to 90% right. But let's also remember in certain economic neighborhoods, that's not the case. So that's my issue is that standard of policing is done in certain targeted areas.
Right.
In other areas, it ain't like that.
Right.
That was going to be my
I
point.
agree.
About
And let's be
where
very
is the
clear.
fear?
It ain't like that. You know what I mean?
There is no fear of a police officer who believes that they can traumatize or they can, basically murder a black man or be violent with a black person. And in their brain, I'm sure that they're thinking 9 times out of 10 that they can get away with it. If there was some sort of repercussions from what a black person is, from what a police officer does to black people, I don't think that they would do it. But for years, they have gotten away with it. So I'm sure Derek Chauvin was probably not thinking, I'm going to jail for this. He probably was thinking, I might get off on this boy.
I might get an award for this. Because
this is probably not the first time that I've done this, and it's probably not the first time that I've gotten off.
But he's averaged a disciplinary action a year.
Hold up, Maynard, and they won't put this in the record, because I remember read this. In his past 19 years, he's averaged 1 complaint like this for the past year on average of his whole career. So there's a pattern of this. This isn't new. You know what I'm saying? You don't go from 0 to the murder game like that. You feel what I'm saying? Dude been doing this 20 years. He's been whooping ass for 20 years. And this time, right when he was getting ready to walk out the door, he gonna catch this right here.
It's like what was my man's name from the OJ?
Furman,
yeah.
Right.
It's like, dude, you've been doing this. But right. Even to, to what Meliana, I think that's your name, Melanie said, Melanie, what's up, Melanie? You got a very valid point. Black kids out here, they're seen as adults. Some black kids being tried as adults. What's my man's name that went to Rikers?
Khalif Browder.
The boy was a kid. You put him in Rikers Island.
Hold on.
But
3 years.
I'm done.
3 years for stealing a backpack that he didn't steal. A backpack which might have been worth $10-20.
This says to me, this is what you feel like you can do. And this is where I asked about to white America. If you can't see it, you just can't see it. You mean to tell me that, oh my God, I don't know why I can't remember anybody's name. What's the rep's name that just got arrested in Georgia, Maynard?
The woman
knocking on
I don't know her name.
Oh, the black lady.
Black lady.
Yeah.
Go. I don't know her name.
Yeah. Okay. This lady is now facing 8 years. The lady is facing 8 years in prison for knocking on the governor's door. Somebody tell me how many years that anybody is getting. Have they put out any sentencing for anybody who was on insurrection on January 6th? And that was hundreds of white people.
So are you going to apologize? You and Maynard, you're going to apologize to me now or later? Because when we first started this podcast, what did I tell you to? What did I say?
There ain't no Santa Claus.
No. What else? I said
your
that
mama
too.
lied to you about the
Easter Bunny.
What else did I say about that ice?
Tooth Fairy ain't real.
What I tell you?
Tooth Fairy ain't real.
What else did I say?
That your mama was a liar.
That grandmamas used to twerk.
Yeah, they sure did. That's why grandmamas had 14 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Grandmamas used to twerk. Yeah. But you remember Barry Hankerson, right, Lamont?
My old boss, yeah.
Oh yeah, your old boss had a young artist by the name of who?
Well, he had a few. Talking about Leah?
Had a young artist by the name of Aaliyah. Now, she was kind of gone after this, but she put out a song called We Need a Resolution.
We need a resolution.
Those lyrics in that song say, am I supposed to change? Or are you supposed to change?
Got me off that one, Playboy. You got me.
So I'm asking white people, am I supposed to change? Or are you supposed to change? Who should be hurt and who should be to blame? We need a resolution. Are we always going to be the victims here? And are you ever going to be able to see that these things are causing trauma in Black Americans?
Lamont, do we owe a licensing fee for the use of the lyrics?
I gotta tell y'all how Barry Hankins fired me one day. That's my man, boy.
But hold on, let me ask you this question: was Barry the kind of cat that will fire you 24 times in a month? Like he just be like, you know what, I ain't dealing with you no more, and then you fired, and then you still working?
No, I just remember the one time he cussed us out about that tank I deserve. He said, "If y'all don't get this motherfucking record, don't come back. Don't come back." Anyway, but you're right. Listen. I kind of want to go into this next thing because I want to introduce a new segment, and I'm gonna do a Maynard.
We're not introducing no damn new segment.
What up, Sophia, bro? Right. What up, Sophia, bro? Right.
Next week you ain't gonna want to do the segment no more.
But the segment is called, Maynard, why didn't you tell me this? I mean, there's just so many things that I'm learning that Maynard is supposed to tell us. And this goes into the pivot of what you're talking about. You all saw the clip what Mitch McConnell said about, pretty much threatening corporate America to stay out of government business. Did y'all see that?
Yes.
So I started thinking a little bit more about Mitch, and I had a couple of minutes in an Uber coming back to the house, and I was like, okay, Mitch was born in 1942. So I looked up his mom and his daddy, looked up his grandparents, and did you all know that technically it's been proven that Mitch McConnell is a descendant of slave owners?
I would not be surprised.
No. It's a fact. It's a written fact. And NBC News did a story on it in 2019. And it talked about his great-grandfather, James McConnell, and Richard Daley, how they both were slave owners because, he originally comes from Alabama. This is 1800s, so you just imagine what's popping off in Alabama. I'm sorry, in 1814, right? So they went all the way back based off census records. Because what I didn't know, and this is what makes me angry about Maynard, who didn't teach us this in our black, HOTEP class.
In our civics class?
Yeah, in our civics class.
You got to be mad at El Joy for that then.
Yeah, is that, slaves were written down in the census. Did you know that, Maynard?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that part. So that's how they knew when they broke down, how, Mitch has been on record about how he didn't want to get down with the reparations and it wasn't his fault when he and his family benefited directly, and it is a known fact. You know what I'm saying? So we talk about this thing about voter suppression and X, Y, and Z. Like Mitch, when y'all freed the slaves, your people still got money from the government. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you just said, Spud. Are we supposed to change? Because at every turn, they come with the bullshit. There's so many facts that they own some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
We are supposed to change.
Yeah. But wait a minute. So I'm sorry, because I was listening to the BIN network. I know, Maynard, you're not a fan, but I was listening. So they were saying that Trump made some comments about the Major League Baseball thing moving from Georgia. Is he back on Twitter, or is he back? Does he have a social media presence?
I don't know his status in social media. I don't know his status in social media. We do know that he got sued quite a bit over these fraudulent donations, and he's had to return some $100 million or so. But on the Georgia Major League Baseball thing, Major League Baseball took a big stance, and I think they listened to their primary constituency, which are the players of Major League Baseball, who said that this was wrong. And that's great. And it hurts Atlanta. It hurts. Unfortunately, it will have a greater impact on a lot of African Americans in Atlanta than it will have on rural white voters in other parts of the state. That's why the governor is so emboldened to be like, oh, well, Major League Baseball, you take it and you shove it. But they can't. But right now in the middle of a pandemic, they could probably say, well, you know what, we can miss that money, but they can't keep missing that money. They're going to get their act right.
Can I ask both of y'all a question? And again, I have not read the law because, Maynard, it has been written into law, correct?
Yes.
In the state of Georgia, so it is law.
It passed.
So Yeah.
and was signed. Correct.
Why is it wrong for you to have an identification card in order to vote? Why is that wrong?
It's not necessarily a wrong thing, but let's start with saying a couple of things. You can do good things or right things, and you can do bad things, and you can just do things. But whatever the focus and the reason of you doing that thing, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between, is really critical. And so there are going to be people who have went out and secured a voter identification card. I secured a voter identification card. That's what the state said that you needed. That's also what the federal government said you needed to vote. And then you say, well, now you need a driver's license. Okay, well, a lot of people don't drive. Well, you need that state ID card. Okay, fine. But then what they did previously, and they did this in many states, is they then turned around and they changed the hours of what we call DMV, where they put fees around getting a state ID. Now, if you want to drive, you should pay a fee. But if you live in the state and the state requires you to have this picture ID and you're 86 years of age and you've been voting in the same place for 30, 40, 50 years, when somebody puts this in front of you, they should try to supply it to you as easily as possible. But what they have done is moved voter registration locations, moved voting. So it's not, and don't get confused. This whole thing is not about voter ID. It's about voter suppression. When they close down locations to vote, when they say get the voter ID, but they make it more difficult to get a voter ID. Oh, you have to have this kind of birth certificate. Oh, you haven't voted in so many such and suches, so we're going to just kick you off. You have to prove this. You have to do that. These sound like the same voter tests that we had when they used to ask you how many marbles are in the jar, or all these little mathematical tests that they would give people. Can you read this? Can you do that? And it's just...
Oh, you can read that? Oh, let me give you another one.
Let me give you another test. Test.
And again, Maynard, and sometimes you're right. I'm in a bubble. Even when I told my wife about with the vaccine, what I do understand is how and why, I'm thinking about the elderly and having it in churches and places that they go that they can frequent, because if you have to, rely on an 87-year-old to hopefully get online and do all other things to get a vaccine, it'd be a mess. So I get it. And I'm glad you said that. But because again, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, getting an ID is, don't we all have IDs? But you're right. Probably somebody who's 92 that been going.
Or not even just 92. I mean, somebody who is 18, right? They're like, yo, now I got to go get an ID. Now I got to do this. Now I got to do this. I don't forget it. I don't even want to vote.
Well, think about this. Think about what you're saying at age 18, right? When we were 18, when we were 16, driving was a big deal. 18-year-old kids today will be like, I don't want a car. I'll hop Uber. Right? I'll get an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. And in fact, in 10 years, the number of people who will own cars is going to continue to go down. We're not going forward with that. We're going backwards, because it's just, why own a car? And so as a result, like getting a driver's license is just not as important as it used to be for a whole new group of people who are coming online as young adults, or just as challenging. Or, one of the things I always recognized when I was getting my driver's license for the first time and then renewing it or going to, is that, at least where I grew up, if you go to the DMV, there are police officers there. It's part of the police department in some respect. And so there might be people who may be fearful of going to get their driver's license because, you're entering into this place where there are cops and there, your right to drive or your privilege to drive is a thing. that is governed by ultimately the police department, by the state, but more locally by the police department. Do I want to come in contact with that? Do I want to be involved with that? I don't know, et cetera, et cetera. And now I just want to go vote. But in order for me to vote, I got to go around these people who may be intimidating, who killed George Floyd. And it's a whole other problem.
Hey, Amanda, let me get into this real quick. I want to kind of knock out two things before we go. So, and I'm speaking to you because we both used to work in radio, and Ahmad, you can actually, you know what I'm saying, tag along in this because you'll know about it. And Jeff, you know what I'm saying, because you live in Detroit, you can actually, you know what I'm saying, tag along. And anybody else, you know what I'm saying, as well. But help everybody to understand why it is a problem for, first of all, for GM to not be spending money with black people. And then two, to go from 2% in 2022 into it's going up to 4% in 2022 and then 8%
in 25.
In 2025. Break down, you know what I'm saying, from a sales perspective, right? Why this is an issue for GM.
To me, there are two sides of this coin. There is the media outlet perspective, the radio station, the television station, the newspaper, or websites that are either owned by or run by black people, etc. So we work for Radio One. It's a publicly traded station with a black CEO and founder, right? Kathy Hughes and Alfred Liggins. And the idea that they would spend, that GM is holding back its spending in black radio means that, and you know this when we worked there at Radio One and most Radio One stations around the country that I visited and consulted with, etc., that 70-80% of the salespeople are black. 70-80% of all the employees of the organization are going to be black. And as a result, salespeople live on commission. Therefore, if you spend less money with that, you are holding down black growth, black wealth, etc. Additionally, let's take in this market here, and in other markets, it's not very different. 103 Jams here, where KJ Holiday, that you guys may be familiar with, God rest the dead. KJ Holiday was the program director for years, and 103 Jams have been number one, 12 plus, 18 plus, 25, 54 for like 20 years straight. But they didn't get the lion's share of any advertising buy, although they were number one. It was something called Urban Dictates, where they dictated that urban radio stations would receive fewer dollars than general market or white radio stations. And that meant that those black salespeople made less money, although they were more deserving. Also, it is an extremely arrogant position to say, we don't have to advertise to black people. They're going to give us their money anyway. Or we don't care to advertise to black people. Just like, even though some of it was rumor and conjecture and hearsay, but there was always the backlash against the Tommy Hilfigers or the Ralph Lauren's about black people who were buying their clothes and they weren't advertising to us. That's one side of the coin. Cristal, exactly. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin are the ad agencies. And we had a conversation years ago on 910, the three of us, and I was saying I don't want the African American dollar from Chrysler, right? Our good friend Don Coleman ran an ad agency called Global Hue. He was a former Chrysler executive. He got the black dollar. He got the African American dollar, which we know was, based on this information, 2%. That meant 98% of the money was going to the white dollar, or probably 96 or 97% of the money, because much of that money was going to, maybe some was going to Hispanic, some was going to Asian, some was going to LGBTQ, etc. I don't want just to, listen, as an advertising executive, I can buy radio or TV on any station. Because I'm black doesn't mean I don't know that the Big Bang Theory is a big deal on CBS. Because I'm black doesn't mean I can't figure out how to place ads in WWF Raw on Monday nights or whatever the case may be. So, but because I'm black, those advertisers say, no, Maynard, we only want you to buy BET. We only want you to buy TV One, and we only want you to buy Clio, or black radio stations, thereby meaning that some company like Leo Burnett, which is already worth billions of dollars, is going to continue to make billions of dollars, and my small ad agency is going to take 10% of $50 million. And maybe we made $5 million. But Leo Burnett is taking 10% of whatever that difference may have been, which would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of, $950 million. And
so I'm sorry, man. Can we go back a little bit and can we talk community college level, because you really went master's degree, PhD. So basically, what you're saying, Spud, is that General Motors has 100 pennies, and you saying that they got called out because they spent 2 pennies in the black community?
Pretty much. Yeah, and now they're gonna spend 4 pennies.
Right.
And then in a couple of years, they're gonna give us 8 pennies.
Right, but so still that non-African American radio station or agency is still going to control 96 pennies, right?
Whatever.
Or 92 in a couple of years.
92 in a couple of years.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. I got you. And again, man, it was in depth. I get it, but after reading Media Base all day and trying to figure out these 3 records I got this week, you just was burning my brain and you gave me the real deep answer.
Let me give you the real good answer then.
Okay. Short.
A handful of years ago, I would say probably between 97 and 2006, 2007, GM, they out of here. Except for one product. Damn Cadillac Escalade. We know who bought that damn Cadillac Escalade.
Chaldeans bought them up.
We know who bought them Cadillac Escalades. Brothers was out here rocking Cadillac Escalades. Every black folks were driving Cadillac Escalades all over the place, and they were just like, GM Plan Works, which is kind of the media buying arm, and I wish Anita Randall was on, because Anita Randall was part of that buying arm as well at one point. They just weren't buying black. They just weren't buying black. They didn't see the value, and if it wasn't for black people buying Cadillac Escalades,
I don't know, man. Didn't somebody give them a big check out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Didn't somebody give them a real big check?
Yeah. I mean, they rescued Detroit. They rescued General Motors. If you're talking about Barack.
Right, but I'm saying, well, I didn't want to say his name, but that's a whole nother subject. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if black people per se saved.
Let me tell you. I'm saying before Barack showed up. Now watch what happened. Just watch. GM used to be General Motors, Chevy, GMC, Pontiac, Buick, Saturn, Oldsmobile. GM today is, and Cadillac, is General Motors, or is the GMC, if you will.
GMC.
Chevy, Cadillac, Buick. So they shuttered like 5 names. They got rid of 5 products. They got rid of the Saturn. They got rid of the Pontiac. They got rid of that. And the one product that stood on top was the Cadillac. Now, ain't nobody out here buying no daggone. The Trailblazer is nice. It's the difference between when we did bar nights for a certain nightclub, Spud, and that club had a white night, and they would complain to our salespeople that, well, white folks come in here and buy $3 Budweisers all night, but when black folks show up, we sell out the Hennessy in the first hour. That's the difference. That's the difference.
So can I ask you a question, Spud? I'm gonna try to hijack because I know you get ready to shut me down.
Shut them down.
Is it more important to be gay than it is to be black?
Oh, so it's good talking to y'all this evening.
You're right.
What's more important?
Wait. Here's the problem with what you just asked. Why didn't you ask us in the beginning of the show?
Nope, because you know how I do, my guy.
But you're the guy that told us we can only go an hour.
Why are you asking at the end of the show?
I got time, bro.
No, you don't.
My West Coast call don't start for another 30 minutes. Go. What's more important?
Being black or being gay?
Yes.
Is that what you asked?
What's more important?
To who? To the individual or to the...
Well, which one do you enjoy more, Lamont?
I don't enjoy
eating.
Okay,
so let's take
But you know what?
Who's
While
the
you're
boy?
fumbling,
No, who's the boy? Who's the Empire boy?
Jussie Smollett.
No. Well, you can take him too. But who's the creator?
Lee Daniels.
Lee Daniels.
Okay.
So are you saying that if I'm looking at Lee Daniels, am I looking at him from a...
Yeah, is he black or is he gay?
Is he black or is he gay? Why can't he just be a gay black man?
Now, here's the reason why I asked, because we were talking about automotives, right? So last night, 60 Minutes... No, hold on, because you went straight entertainment. Let's go back to the cars. We were on cars. So there was a story done on the president of the Ford Foundation, the Ford family trucks F-150, right? So this particular person, he was talking about, what they're doing at Ford, X, Y, and Z. But the way they introduced him was they said his name and they said he's gay and he's black. And I said to myself, why did they do that?
Well, it's the same reason why they say the first black. No. I'm going to say it again. Black. It's the same.
No, because but why did they say he was gay first over being black? And again, I don't know what's more important, but why was the emphasis on gay first and then black second?
Which part did you feel like...
That's how he was introduced on the piece.
Which part made you proud to celebrate?
Neither.
Okay, well then it's not important to you at all. Just push on.
Because to be honest with you, what I did like about the piece is that and I knew a little bit about the Ford Foundation because we do know some recipients of some of the grants that they've been writing. They do write checks, even though Ford has made a lot of money, but they write a lot of checks and they've been helping a lot during the pandemic. But I just wanted to know from you two, and again, I'm in a bubble, I'm like, maybe I was told I'm too sensitive about certain things, but why is it that he just couldn't be who he is?
Man?
Yeah, a man. Why he got to be black? Why do we even know that he's gay?
Because it's trauma. These are the things that the society has put on us. It's trauma. Okay. I asked it before when it was like, why does the such and such have to be the first black? Why can't she just be the first woman? Why do they have to be the first black such and such to own a faith? I don't care. I appreciate that and I'm happy for him. But I would just be just as happy if Hillary Clinton became the first woman president. I would be just as happy for her as I was for Kamala being the first woman vice president.
But it is historic when the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth of anything occurs. It's historic. It's historic.
Now to side with Maynard in a sense, if you look at, for me, okay, let me answer the question this way. For me, it would be black. All right, that would be more important to me, because if I look at it from this perspective, and it may sound stupid, both of those titles has had to overcome a lot of struggle, right? Black people having the longest of that struggle. And so if I had to answer the question, I would say it would be more important for me to know that he's a black man who's actually gay. But gay people has had to shoot. Not like that, they ain't get killed in Palmer Park. Wasn't like, they wouldn't get hung from trees neither. Getting shot in the back of the head. I mean, getting fired from jobs, being discriminated against. I mean, gay people have definitely had to overcome a lot of obstacles as well. So to be gay and black, a lot of obstacles to overcome.
So mainly because you dance, and I don't want to disrespect the gentleman because his name is Darren Walker. That's what his mom and daddy named him. So I'm a firm believer that's his name. But if you look it up, if you go on the CBS News site and they give you the transcript, the way she read it, it says right here in black and white, a gay black man who grew up poor in a single parent home in rural Texas.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really tired of that narrative, which I get it. That's the narrative.
Why we just can't say my man, he making it happen over there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's the narrative of, of society. Like I was watching what's the name? Like even like with the rappers, I hate when the rappers say, "Man, I came from the struggle." You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Keeping the
I got it
hood,
from
man,
the
I came from
mud. I
nothing.
got it from the mud.
Everybody ain't come from nothing. Some of y'all came from something. All right. But anyways, whatever. Let me just get to this before we go, because this is a main thing. So, Maynard, do you know Ronald Bagley?
Personally?
Just period. Do you know the name?
Yes.
Okay. So I saw, I was reading an article, and he basically said that there is a distinct possibility that a number of HBCUs could cease to exist in 20 years or so. And so I saw the article, and the article was basically about HBCUs, the lack of or the decrease in enrollment in 2019 and so forth and so on. So I just wanted to ask you about what your thoughts were. Do you see historic Black colleges starting to fizzle out in 20 years? Some of them.
Yes. And I think in some respect, so I'll give you an example of at least one. Actually, and this is actually indicative of three, but one. There was one that was called St. Paul's in Lawrenceville, Virginia. And it's Lawrenceville has, the city of Lawrenceville or township of Lawrenceville had a population around 25,000 people about 25 years ago, 30 years ago. That town is getting smaller, 11,000, 15,000 people. It's getting smaller and smaller. I remember my college roommate had had a romantic inclination to see this girl that went to St. Paul's that he grew up with or whatever, this girl he grew up with. And we drove out there and they had 300 students. You're not going to keep that school alive. If the local population of that community is getting smaller, it's a farm community, right? There's no business in that neighborhood. There's not a GM plant there. If that's getting smaller, it means the local high school is graduating fewer and fewer people. And fewer kids are attending that school. The market will speak. You can't run a school with 35 kids. I don't care how much money you give the university. At one point, it was down to like 100 students. You can't operate a university with 100 students that was built for, 2,000 students in the past. You're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of, you just can't do it. Back in my hometown area, both Lincoln and Cheney University, Cheney being the oldest historically Black college in the country, they're struggling. Their enrollments have fallen significantly. They probably can rebound, but we're talking about two historically Black colleges that are 45, maybe as many as 90 minutes apart, competing for the same number of Black students. One of them is going to win and one of them is going to lose. It's going to happen. The market will speak. One of the downsides is Black people are not sending their children to Black colleges. Here in this market, Norfolk, Virginia, when I first moved to Norfolk, Virginia, Norfolk State was 97% Black. Old Dominion, which is across town from Norfolk State, some 6-7 miles, was 7-8% Black, 7%, 6%. Now, Old Dominion is 30% Black. They have been actively pursuing Black students. So we have got to pursue Black students to come to our HBCUs. We have to send our students to HBCUs. And we also have to recognize that, there used to be a company called AOL. They just went out of business. That happens. So there are going to be some Black colleges that have served and very well may not be able to serve in the future. St. Paul's, and I see Tiffany said it is a religious HBCU. I would just add that it was a religious HBCU. They're no longer in business. In that scenario, the market has spoken. It just is what it is. It's unfortunate, but not everything is going to be viable in 10 years.
All right, so we out. I know you wanted to talk about Paul Pierce. I mean, not Paul Pierce. I wanted to talk about Paul Pierce, but we're not going to get to it. You want to talk about Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport? What? I don't even know what happened.
Did you say anything about this, Lamont?
I mean, I think I did, but Michael Rappaport is kind of like He has whack juice on him already.
So let me just say this real quick. So Kevin Durant got called on the carpet by ESPN and others because he had a Twitter beef with Michael Rappaport. Got into a scenario where he started sending DMs to Michael Rappaport about how he was calling Michael Rappaport a B, and that Michael Rappaport's wife didn't respect him because you are B, and and so forth. It all stemmed from Kevin Durant having an interview with Charles Barkley where Kevin Durant is famously infamously kind of coy about answering questions, and kind of he's always so much over it all. Kevin Durant just kind of is like, I'm you know,
you want to play basketball?
No, he's kind of like he has that. He always has that position of, why are you asking me this dumb question, bro? So, I mean, Michael Rappaport shot at him. Look, man, answer the question. Stop being a chump. Kevin Durant, you a bitch. You a bitch. You a bitch. Your wife thinks you a bitch. They back and forth. But this was in the DMs. For those, because I'm 50. Those who don't know, the DMs are private messages. Michael Rappaport published the private messages.
Commercial. If you printed out directions to get here, you're in the right.
You're in the right place. You're in the right place. The waiter doesn't need to know your name. So Michael Rappaport published the DMs publicly, and they got Kevin Durant in a little bit of a beef with the Nets. And the NBA talks of possibly a game suspension or whatever. So that's the quick piece.
That wasn't quick, man. That wasn't quick, Professor.
Shut up, Lamont. Nobody asked you what relative terms.
That was not
Nobody
quick.
asked. Michael Rappaport, as you said, Lamont, is notoriously a troll-ass dude. He's a troll.
I don't even know how Michael Rappaport is even relevant.
He lives in Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn or whatever. Kevin
Durant, when I saw him, wasn't he like the commentator or like the host of the Big Three? And I was like, why do you have Michael Rappaport, Ice Cube? Like, there's like 100,000. You could have got Stephen A. Smith. There's a million other people you could have gotten before you got Michael Rappaport.
But stop playing. You know the answer why.
You can't get Stephen A. Smith.
Even if you can't, but there's 100. There's 10 people under Stephen A. Smith. There's 100 people under Stephen A. Smith that's above Michael Rappaport that you could have gotten.
But you know why?
Or ESPN, it's on SportsCenter, whoever. I mean, you could have got somebody who did the high school commentating games, and you could have been, And I'm not a fan of Michael Rappaport, but whatever. But before we go, Lamont, I know you're 50 now, and going back to the Progressive commercial. Do you still ask people their name when you go to the restaurant? Because you're notorious for doing that.
What do you mean?
Lamont always asks the person's name. When we go and eat or we go and have drinks, Lamont is always like, yo, what's your name? Yes. I'm Lamont. This is my man. Yes. This is what we need. Do you still do that? Okay.
Yes, because I need to establish a relationship with whoever's going to be pouring my vodka or serving me my steak or my lobster. Yes. You know who I am, and I need
no chicken wings, huh? No chicken wings. No lobster bites. I mean, no
jalapeno poppers.
Jalapeno poppers.
No.
Lamont is showing up.
Poppers on the menu. Nah, I'll pass.
Lamont is showing up at the Daryl's and trying to get some 2 for $20 apps.
No mozzarella sticks, huh? No
mozzarella sticks and the potato skins.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Potato skins, none of that.
No, but you know what? Wait. And I said this the other day. I do miss Fridays. I miss Southfield Fridays because them potato skins and those chicken wings was always on point. But other than that, I'll pass.
That is funny.
You don't want that.
Thank you guys so very much for
the spinach dip.
For watching. Thank you so very much for hanging on with us too for 15 more minutes. Do us a favor, share this episode with your friends. Share it on your page. Make sure you if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you are also watching this on Facebook, do us a favor. Where it says get notified when 3 Black Guys with Their Mic goes live next, hit turn on. Turn on your notifications so that way you know when we go live. All right? We're going to do our best to try to get on Instagram next week so that way you can watch us on Instagram as well. Tell your friends to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here every Monday, 7 p.m. Thank you so very much to everybody who logged on with us tonight. We truly appreciate it. We truly appreciate everybody. Guys, we went from 3 people.
We went to a lot more. That's all.